Have you ever felt like a marionette, your heartstrings pulled by the actions, words, or even the silence of another? One moment, a kind word sends you soaring into the clouds. The next, a perceived slight plunges you into a dark abyss. This emotional roller coaster, this frantic dance of attachment, is a deeply human experience. We tie our peace of mind to people, to outcomes, to possessions, believing our happiness is locked away in something outside of ourselves. We hand over the remote control to our own well-being and then wonder why the channel keeps changing without our consent. This is the overwhelming burden of emotional attachment, a cycle that can feel impossible to escape. It's a storm that tosses our inner ship on violent waves, leaving us exhausted, powerless, and desperately clinging to a piece of wreckage for a sense of stability. But what if I told you that you are not the ship? What if I told you that you are the lighthouse, steadfast, unshakable, and capable of weathering any storm? What if there was an ancient key, forged in the fires of adversity by emperors and slaves alike, that could unlock you from these emotional chains and guide you back to the calm, steady ground of your own being? That key is the Stoic art of detachment. This isn't about becoming cold, unfeeling, or indifferent. Far from it. This is a journey towards a more profound, more resilient, and more authentic form of love and happiness. It's about learning to love people and life so deeply that you no longer need to possess them to feel whole. It's about reclaiming the remote control and realizing that the power to feel peace, joy, and contentment has been in your hands all along. So, take a deep breath. We are about to embark on a transformative journey, drawing upon the timeless wisdom of great minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, to learn not how to care less, but how to love better, live more freely, and finally, break the chains of emotional dependency. To understand how to break these chains, we must first understand what they are made of. Where does this powerful, often painful pull of attachment come from? It's not a character flaw or a sign of weakness. It is a fundamental part of the human condition, amplified by the stories our ego tells us. At our core, we are wired for connection. But our ego, that chattering voice in our head, often confuses connection with possession. It operates from a place of fear, a lack mindset. It whispers to us that we are incomplete, that we are an empty cup that needs someone else to come along and fill it. We seek validation, security, and a sense of worth from external sources, a partner's approval, a particular job title, or the admiration of our peers. This is where the suffering begins. The Stoics identified a profound truth that cuts through this confusion like a blade: the dichotomy of control. They taught that the world is divided into two parts: that which is within our control and that which is not. The only things truly within our control are our own thoughts, our judgments, and our actions. That's it. Everything else, the opinions of others, our health, our wealth, the weather, whether someone loves us back, is ultimately outside of our direct control. Emotional attachment is the exhausting and futile attempt to control the uncontrollable. It's pinning our inner peace to the whims of another person's heart, or the unpredictable winds of fortune. We suffer not because of the events themselves, but because we desperately try to grasp what was never ours to hold in the first place. Imagine trying to nail the weather to the wall. You could spend your whole life in frustration, blaming the wind for blowing and the rain for falling. Or you could accept the nature of the weather and instead focus on building a sturdy shelter and learning to navigate the changing seasons. Detachment is building that shelter. It's the recognition that you can care deeply, hope passionately, and strive diligently, but you must anchor your well-being in the one thing you can command: your own inner world. The master illusionist in this drama is the ego. It is the architect of our attachments because it thrives on comparison and external validation. The ego is a hungry ghost, never satisfied. It tells you that your life is less meaningful because you don't have what someone else has. This is the very engine of modern anxiety, fueled by the curated highlight reels of social media. We scroll through filtered snapshots of perfect relationships, perfect careers, and perfect lives, and the ego whispers, "See? You're missing out. You're falling behind." This is the fear of missing out, or FOMO, and it is a powerful chain. But the Stoics would remind us that we are comparing our raw, unedited, behind-the-scenes footage with someone else's cinematic trailer. It's an illusion. Detachment is stepping back from this theater of comparison. It's the conscious decision to stop measuring your worth against an imaginary and often fabricated yardstick. It's understanding that true self-worth is not a prize awarded by others. It is a fortress you build within yourself, brick by brick, with acts of virtue, wisdom, and self-respect. This leads us to a vital distinction: the difference between attachment and love. Attachment, driven by the ego, says, "I need you to complete me. My happiness depends on your actions. I am afraid of losing you because then I will be empty." It is a contract based on fear and need. True, deep connection, what we might call Stoic love, says something entirely different. It says, "I am whole on my own, and you are whole on your own. I choose to share my journey with you. I value your presence in my life, but my inner peace is not contingent upon it. I can love you freely without the fear of losing myself." This is the radical freedom detachment offers. It doesn't diminish love. It purifies it. It allows you to engage with the world and with others from a place of abundance, not scarcity. You are no longer the empty cup, begging to be filled. You are a full fountain, overflowing with your own inherent worth, able to share with others without depleting your own source. So how do we begin to forge this key and unlock our own chains? The journey begins not with a grand gesture, but with a quiet turn inward. It starts with awareness. The Stoics practiced what they called the view from above, a meditation where you imagine yourself floating up, seeing your life, your city, your country, and the entire earth from a cosmic perspective. From this vantage point, the problems and attachments that seem so monumental on the ground shrink to their true size. You become an impartial observer of your own life. Try this in a practical sense. When you feel that familiar pang of anxiety from an unanswered text, or the sting of jealousy, or the fear of being left behind, don't just react. Pause. Observe the feeling. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is this a rational response, or is it the voice of my ego fearing a loss of control? By simply observing the emotion without judging it, you create a space between the trigger and your response. In that space lies your freedom. Another powerful Stoic tool is negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum. This might sound pessimistic, but it is, in fact, a profound practice of gratitude and resilience. Take a moment each day to contemplate the loss of the things you hold dear, your relationships, your job, your health. This is not to dwell in misery, but to do two things. First, it cultivates a deep appreciation for what you have right now, in this moment, rather than taking it for granted. Second, it mentally prepares you for the impermanence of all things. By confronting the possibility of loss in your mind, you rob it of its power to terrorize you in reality. You begin to understand that you could endure it, that your core self, your inner lighthouse, would remain. This practice systematically loosens the grip of attachment by showing you that your ultimate well-being is not tied to any single external thing. Journaling is another cornerstone of this practice. Seneca wrote letters, Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations. Both were forms of turning their thoughts into concrete words. Your journal is a safe harbor where you can untangle the knots of your emotions. Write down what you are attached to and why. Explore the fears that lie beneath. Question the stories your ego is telling you. Is it true that you cannot be happy without this person? Is it true that this failure defines you? More often than not, when you see these fears written down in black and white, you expose them for the illusions they are. You are having a conversation with the most important person in your life, yourself. And perhaps most importantly, we must practice amor fati, the love of our fate. The Stoics believed that events themselves are not good or bad. It is our judgment about them that makes them so. A breakup is not inherently a tragedy. It can be an opportunity for immense growth and self-discovery. A job loss is not the end of the world. It can be the catalyst for finding your true calling. This isn't about passive acceptance. It's about actively embracing everything that happens, the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the painful, as a necessary part of your journey. It's recognizing that the obstacle is the way. By accepting reality as it is, rather than how we wish it would be, we stop fighting a battle we can never win and free up immense energy to focus on what we can do, respond with virtue, courage, and wisdom. Living with this kind of detachment transforms everything. It doesn't mean you won't feel sadness or disappointment. You will. You are human. But these feelings will no longer have the power to capsize you. They will be like waves washing over the solid rock of the shore. They come, and then they go. But you remain. Your relationships become healthier and more authentic because they are based on choice, not need. You can offer support and love without the crippling fear of abandonment. You can pursue your goals with passion and dedication, but you are not destroyed by failure because your self-worth was never staked on the outcome. This unburdened soul finds happiness not in fleeting external pleasures, but in a deep, abiding inner peace known as eudaimonia. It is the tranquility that comes from knowing you are living in accordance with your highest self, that you are building your inner fortress every day. It's the joy that arises from your character, your integrity, and the love you can give freely without strings attached. So the path to happiness is not an outward search but an inward journey. It is the gradual, deliberate process of detaching your well-being from the uncontrollable and re-anchoring it in the solid ground of your own character and actions. It's realizing that you were never a marionette to begin with. You are the puppeteer, the author, and the hero of your own story. This journey is not easy. It is a lifelong practice. There will be days when the old chains feel heavy, when the ego's whispers are loud. But every time you choose to observe rather than react, every time you practice gratitude for the present moment, every time you accept what you cannot change and focus on what you can, you are strengthening your resilience. You are polishing your inner lighthouse, making its beam brighter and more steadfast. Embrace this path. Embrace the wisdom of the Stoics. Understand that letting go is not an act of loss, but an act of profound self-love. It is the ultimate declaration of freedom, the freedom to live fully, to love deeply, and to find a peace so unshakable that it can withstand any of life's storms. You are the sculptor of your own mind. Start chipping away at the unnecessary attachments and discover the magnificent, resilient, and truly happy masterpiece that lies within.